I think in order for a film to reach that classic, iconic, cult-following status, you need to have a part of your movie ripped off by something produced by Disney. So therefore, at the top of this review, I want to say congratulations to the movie Waterworld, that great old Kevin Costner film, for having that entire underwater dome sequence ripped off by this movie. Elemental is the latest Pixar animated picture released by Disney, released here a couple of weeks ago in 2023, and is directed by Peter Sohn, who has also directed the movie The Good Dinosaur, and did voiceover recordings for Ratatouille and Monsters University. And this movie is starring the voices of Leah Lewis, Mahmoud Athi, Ronnie Del Carmen, Shyla Omi, Wendy McClendon-Covey, and Catherine O'Hara. Welcome to Elemental City, where we focus on the life of Ember, the daughter of a famous fire convenience store on the outskirts of the city, and her adorable little meet-cute of the water city inspector guy named Wade Ripple. And as Wade is investigating several leaks in the store, he notices that this building is not up to code, so the city is gonna have to shut this store down. Well, Ember is not having any of it, so she is gonna take this all the way to the city council to make sure that her father's store is still standing. And all throughout this journey, we get a beautiful little love story between these two different elemental people, and we see Ember develop the confidence to admit that she doesn't want to take over the family convenience store, and she wants to go out and do different things and become her own person. So Pixar has always been a staple in the animation world ever since they started with Toy Story back in the 90s. Technically, I think they did a couple of things with The Rescuers Down Under, but ever since Toy Story, really, they've been the animation benchmark for anything that has been produced. And that's still the case for this film. The animation here, it's untouchable. The animation is excellent. It is beautiful. It is stunning. It's everything that you've come to expect from a Pixar film. So I don't mean for this review to seem like I am bashing on it or I'm just relentlessly criticizing it, because what they do is pretty spectacular. But in a studio that keeps doing spectacular things, the jaw-dropping awness of those beautiful things kind of gets diminished to be, like, that's the level of where I'm expecting things to be. So when I get a film that just kind of meets those expectations from the studio, even though if you compare it to something else, it's definitely superior, but if we're just comparing to the stupendous things to each other, this is pretty average stupendous, I guess, if that makes sense. Basically, I have seen this movie before. Maybe not done with these elements, the literal elements. Not done specifically with these characters and the idea of, oh, she's fire and he's water and they can't touch or else he'll extinguish her or he'll just evaporate. To see them kind of come together. Okay, I haven't seen that before. But the essence of this story, the messages behind the story, seeing someone be groomed to take over the family business, right? That's why you were put here on this earth, to take over the mantle of my business, our family business, when I retire or when I'm gone. Only for that kid to have a bigger dream, or maybe just a different dream than taking over a retail convenience store. And I hope people don't have the dream of that, because retail frickin' sucks. But the younger character has some type of dream or aspirations that they want to achieve, and they're struggling with telling their parents, hey, I don't want to take over the thing that you've been working for your entire life. I want to go off and do my own thing. And then there's some conflict there, but then in the end, the father or the parent, whoever it is, accepts their decision and allows them to go and spread their wings. Personally, I have seen that story so many frickin' times, and so many times in this studio, in Pixar, and in Disney, just in general. So when I realized that that was the story and the character development and the character arcs that we were getting here, I kind of just sat back in my seat and went, oh, that's it? Really? The only way I can see this story working for someone is that if this is like one of the first times that you have seen that story and those character progressions. Like if you are a kid and you're just starting your movie viewing journey and this is like one of the first times you've seen that, you probably will love this movie and it'll affect you emotionally. For me, for someone who has seen that over and over and over again and has personally done that in his life, what that message is, it was just kind of meh for me. And that just added to my overall thesis for this review of this movie is trying really hard to be a Pixar movie. Pixar has done it in the past where they latch on to some emotional tie to a character and they break your freaking heart at the end of their movie, where adults and kids in the audience are just blubbering messes. They're just crying like crazy. This movie is trying so freaking hard to have those moments, and it misses completely. And it feels like the screenwriters realized that midway through the film, or midway through writing out where these characters are going, to where they basically insert a story that the dad had with his dad, so Ember's grandfather, of when he was leaving, you know, he did this grand gesture, this grand bow, and his father didn't reciprocate it to him, so therefore he didn't approve. So as soon as you hear that, you go, oh, I know exactly how this movie is gonna end. She's gonna do the thing, and then he's gonna return it, and everyone's gonna just be in love with each other. Oh yay, oh joy. The problem with that, though, is that they introduced that element, like... It felt like 10 minutes before the end of the movie. 'Cause we need to have that emotional beat in our story. That emotional thing that's just gonna wreck everybody. Oh crap, we forgot to do that in the prologue. We forgot to do that in Act 1. So here we are in Act 3. Dad did this. Oh, that's sad. And now we'll have the dad do that with the daughter. Oh yeah, okay. We covered all of our bases, right? We're a Pixar movie. Cool. You tried to slip one by me. You really did, but I was paying attention the entire time. Sorry, you did not slip it by me. I could see that you were just trying so freaking hard, and it didn't work. And the more you tried, the more I was just turned off by the movie. The voice acting, I think, is good. It's not the most stellar voice acting I've ever heard in a Pixar film, let alone just an animated film in general. There are times where Wade's voice really seemed like he was trying for the comedy and trying to be that bumbling, funny guy, right? But it did get to a point where I'm like, okay, you're trying too hard. Again, this film, everything about it's just trying way too hard. And the originality is just not there. I mentioned it in the introduction to my review that there's an entire section really where Ember, like, realizes a dream that she's always had where she gets to go underwater. She gets to get into this air bubble, and Wade kind of swims her down to something that she's always wanted to see, but it's underwater. And she finally gets there, and she realizes that. And as I'm watching it, like, the same sequence and the cinematography, the choreography of these characters, it reminded me exactly of the amazing, I want to say 95, 96, 97 movie Waterworld. Mid to late 90s in there, the Kevin Costner film. It's the exact same sequence of when he was swimming that girl down to the old city of New York, and he was showing how the land was flooded. I think I remember my jaw being opened at that, thinking like, oh my god, they're actually doing this. Wow. In a Disney movie. Way to go, Waterworld. You finally achieved it. You had Disney copy you. How frickin' cool is that, Waterworld? Again, I feel like I'm bashing on this movie, and I really don't mean to, because the movie is not terrible. It's actually a good picture, and I guess that's the problem that I have with it. Usually Pixar is exceptional and is great. So with them putting out something that's just, it was good, is very off-putting for me. If you are a film buff, if you love stories, if you've read a lot of novels, this movie is probably not going to be that original or exciting for you, because I guarantee you've heard this story before. But if you are a kid and you've never heard a story like this, or you're kind of in that phase of your life where you are trying to figure yourself out, your parents want you to do one thing, but maybe you have an urge to do something else, something totally different, and is more of a chance than what your parents are thinking, then maybe this is the movie for you. For me, though, again, I have seen this movie before, just with different characters and different animation styles and different settings. But the message, the theme, the plot, the character arcs have been done to death many times before. I'm gonna give Elemental 3 out of 5 Blu-rays.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but not bad.
So guys, if you've seen Elemental, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell so you know the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.